Hi everyone, my name is Pavel. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Kibua. And today I'm gonna show you the long tail and what does it mean for data. At the Big Data show at London, everybody asked me, why do I say that the modern data stack is already broken? I will show you why, and I will use the long tail concept for that. Are you familiar with that? It's actually a very good concept that was started around the Google search engine. It started the guy named Chris Anderson, and he did a simple thing. He noticed that if you actually take all the searches that are in Google, there are some searches which are, have a big frequency of search, right? There would be frequency here. Millions of times people would search for them. There would be searches connected with money. There would be searches connected with personal life or celebrity, right? But then there's millions of other, and these could be like hundreds of keywords. Then there are millions of the other keywords, like how do I get from Prague 6 to Manhattan under $100, right? And somebody would search for this only once in a month. But it's interesting. As I said, there's millions of them. So if you connect the dots, it looks like this. And this is called the head of the search. And this is called the long tail because it is really long. And what Chris did, he actually calculated how much money you can make if you target, the head. And he said, well, it's kind of like X amount of dollars, right? And then he actually calculated how much money is in the long tail. And that is fascinating, because it's 10 to 100 times more. And you know what is interesting? This is not about search. Search was just how we actually discovered this. The same principle applies to Amazon and their book catalog, Barnes & Nobles / Amazon. The same applies to Netflix. Basically, the same applies to almost every digital business. And the same applies to data use cases. And that's where it gets interesting. If we when we come to companies, we ask them, so how many use cases you are actually focusing on? I said, well, we are focusing on the big use cases like customer 360, right? We need to connect all the data inside, outside a company and personalize our messaging. Or, well, we need to actually, we concentrate on the supply chain, right? Or 10 others. And then I usually ask them, so how many of them can you do in one year, right? And they say, well, we have all the best tools. We have DBT, we have Fivetran, we have OpenLinch, whatever, everything. We have Snowflake. So yeah, how many use cases you actually do? So well, we don't have enough people, so we actually can do only half of them. Like half of them, right? So you're actually missing the other half from the big, the head of the use cases. Yeah, and the cases we don't have enough people. It's not about people. It's about the complexity, because nowadays the data stack is cool tools, but it's hard to operate them together. You need to know how to do DevOps, you need to know how to do data engineering, you need to know how to actually apply the data, be data analyst, and you need to have the business knowledge, the domain knowledge to put it all together. So no wonder most of the companies, even in the age of modern data stack, don't do, the use cases in the head. And they don't do this. So they are missing 5 to 10 times more money because they are not doing all the long tail use cases. The use cases that sit in the business itself, that the business can do without talking to central IT, without talking to central BI and data team, and that is a big issue. And why is that? Well, that is because the tools are not connected. That's what we set up to change in Kibua. We actually come here and we operate the modern data stack together. So you can go from integration to data warehousing, to creating machine learning models, and to orchestrating all of that to reverse ETL in under one single login. We take care of operating the stack, so you can focus on the use cases. And it really works. And how do I know that? How do I know that? Well, our clients tell us. Take, for example, one of our clients called Mole Group. They are probably the largest e-commerce group in Europe. In 1 year, they actually purchased over 30 different businesses, different technologies, different stack. And when we actually started to work with them, they had an issue. They had a central BI team. It was a dozen people about, and that BI team focused on the big use cases. I was like, why do you focus here? Well, when we talk actually to business people there, they told us about all of these use cases, but they were like, well, we cannot do that. We have 5 years of backlog. 5 years. The data team. Are you familiar with something like that? I bet a lot of companies are actually. So we came in, we actually applied Kibua, we orchestrated all the tools in modern data stack. So now they log into Kibua and they actually have the power of Snowflake, they have the power of orchestrations, everything under one roof. And the magic happened. Under 1 year, they actually roll it out to all the businesses. And now the business people, or people in business actually, take care of 400 use cases themselves. 400. That is analytics, right? And that is also automations, right? So reusability, automations of processes, sending their data where it should live, not only to BI tools, but to customer success tools, CRM, etc. And the BI department, they now take care only of 15 to 20 biggest use cases. So they were able now to realize the all ahead, and with the help of business, now they realize all the long tail use cases. And it was 5 times more use cases. This is really, really astonishing and really love it. So if you want to see more, come to kebula.com. There is a free trial. There's actually a freemium plan. You can have Kibua free forever. And give it a try. If you have questions, talk to me on Twitter at pabu01. Cheers. Have a great day.